Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of Koning's Leadership Podcast. I am Scott Koning. If you haven't had a chance to go listen to my first episode, it's wherever you're streaming this now. I have it on Anchor. Right now I have Spotify. I also have a couple of different things, including Google Podcasts and an app called Breaker, which I never heard of. So if you're listening to me on any one of those or any other ones, welcome. If you're watching me on YouTube, I welcome you to that as well. I wanted to talk about something that was, when I heard it, really hard for me to hear. But once I actually understood it, grasped it, and started applying it, it was actually not only liberating, but it was actually eye-opening. And so this episode, it may seem a little bit blunt when I say it ahead of time. And if that doesn't resonate with you, I apologize in advance. But this way, I can explain where I'm coming from when I say this. I did identify this a little bit in episode number 1. So again, if you haven't had a chance to go and listen to it or watch it, please go back and watch this. I'm basically going to elaborate on what I talked about in episode number 1. In this episode, we are going to elaborate a little bit more on what it takes to help our team, like we're going to do in every episode. But this one, I need us to focus on us as leaders. Don't focus on what your team is doing or not doing. I want us to focus on us as leaders. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that everything that's happening, good or bad, is our fault. I know, that's the blunt part. That's the one I'm not really excited about, just dropping it on you. But it's true. I have had so many scenarios where I have been the leader and I have been led, where the person leading would not take responsibility for the situation. Whatever was going on, it didn't matter. It could have been something that I did. It could have been something that they did or didn't do. But it doesn't matter. Everything that happens to our team, again, good or bad, is our fault. It is our fault. The reason this is liberating is because we have the power then to change it, to fix it. It's just a matter of how. I referred to this in the first episode where I read the book or listened to the book, because I listened to a lot of audiobooks. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. If you have not listened to that book, or read it, it is a good book. I'm going to have to listen to it again. I won't steal his thunder, but I will actually say that there's a lot of good information in there to help us as leaders even move to the next level. So when we talk about everything being our fault, if something is happening with our team or with an individual on our team, we basically have to identify what it is that we, as leaders, what it is that we could have done different to set them up for success. Now, you may be saying to yourself things like, well, it's not my fault if they didn't do the e-learn, or they lost all interest in the job. But if I flip that back and I challenge your thinking for just a second and I say something along the lines of, if it was our fault, what could we have done to fix it? Does that change your thinking? I mean, what's happened has happened. I've been in a scenario where I messed up and I took responsibility. And again, the reason this is liberating is because then we maintain control of the situation, and therefore we can change it. So again, I ask, instead of looking at it saying, well, it's not my fault because, let's switch that thinking and say, if it was my fault, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better? Because again, as leaders, it falls on us. You may not be there's a very good chance actually that you are not the CEO of the company that you are with. If you are, you'll understand this more than anyone else. But I love the way that Gary Vaynerchuk, again, another guy that you need to follow. He runs a media company. I mentioned him in the first episode. I love the way that he says that everything, that right or wrong, lands on his shoulders. It's all because of him. And it could even come down, and I'm stealing his words when I say this, it could even come down to the fact that he hired the wrong person. It's true. Or maybe he hired the wrong recruiter looking for the wrong people. When you're the CEO of a company, it stops at you. So many people tend to think, well, if my leader would only do, then I could only do. No, that's short-sighted thinking. That won't get anybody anywhere, and that will not lead to any success at all. We need to take responsibility for everything our team is doing, good or bad. So I challenge you, in what ways could you help your team become better? I'm going to give some suggestions, but I pose that for now. And if you need to pause this podcast or video to write down a list, excuse me, of things that you could do better as a leader, you could do to improve your team, now's the time to do it before I go into any of the information that I think would help not only you, but your team become better, become more productive, raise morale, all of it. So go ahead, I'll pause for just a second if you want to hit pause and come back to this, and then I'll give my suggestions. Okay. The first thing that I need to talk about when it comes to improving anything is we need to change our mindset. We need to change the way that we are looking at blame. We are looking at fault. We need to change the way that we see the world that is in front of us. And I say this because most people, most leaders, look at it as a negative situation. I was going to say scenario. Situation. They look at the situation and they're like, oh man, and they automatically go for all the negatives that have happened. That's the way the human brain works. The human brain is designed to protect us. So it is natural for your brain to look at any situation, be it at work, at home, in a soccer game, whatever the case may be, and look at everything that could go wrong. That is the way our brain is designed. So, when we are aware of this, we have the ability to change it. And I'm saying this having done it. I was at a point where my anxiety was pretty much running my life. It was pretty much everything I thought of from the moment I woke up to the moment I tried to go to sleep. And I say tried because there were some nights I didn't get to sleep. But once I understood how the brain functions, what anxiety is, and how the world looks at negativity, I was able to take it and go a completely different direction with it. So now we need to change our mindset. How do we do that? How do we do that? Well, there are a number of different books that you can either read, you can download and listen to. I personally go with Audible. I know not everybody does, but I like Audible. I think it works well. And they have quite a big selection because it is a version of Amazon, right? So I would promote Audible because that's what I use. I can't talk anything out of my experience. Now, if you're looking at it saying, well, I can't afford the monthly fees and I can't, well, I don't want to pay for books. There is a way, I know here in Canada, which is where I'm from, there is a way and an app, and I challenge you to look it up wherever you are listening to this or watching this. where you can actually download a library app and you can actually take out, I don't know if that's the right word in this context, but you can actually take out audiobooks and listen to them. I know. I thought it was weird too. What makes it really weird on my end anyway, that I think of, is the fact that they sometimes have a wait list. And I'm looking at it going, okay, but if it's digital, how can there be a wait list? Anyway, that's just sidebar. But the beautiful part about this library app is completely free. Again, I challenge you to see if there's something in your local area that has the same functionality. So again, we want to change our mindset. How do we do it? We can read books, we can listen to audiobooks. There are YouTube videos all over the internet, all over YouTube. There are YouTube and there's Ask G, there's Bing. There's so many websites out there, whether you're into watching videos or reading blogs, it doesn't matter. I can give you my suggestions if you want me to, of what I use to change my mindset. But there are so many things out there that will actually help you change your mindset. But the thing is, you have to want to. If you don't want to, nobody else is going to. I can't change your mindset for you. I can open the door. I can introduce it to you. And I'm hoping that I'm not the introduction to this. But if I am, I hope that you will actually take this and run with it. Again, I can give you my suggestions, things that I've actually read, watched, listened to, whatever it is, that has completely shifted my train of thought. Because I used to be negative. Oh, anxious, negative, nervous, stressed. And then once I understood that there's a different way of thinking, the way that I've actually understood the world to be is actually different than what I understood it to be, that was a game changer for me. So the first thing we need to do as leaders, we need to change our mindset. And part of that changing of mindset is understanding that everything that happens, again, good or bad, is our fault. So with this information, knowing that it's our fault, the second thing I recommend is challenging our team. But the team will not change unless we change. Unless we accept, understand, and confess that we messed up. And I don't think confessing any of that stuff is a bad thing. We're human. We are going to make mistakes. We're human. That's it. But identifying it, and I've been the customer so many times, and I'm going to take a step out of leadership for just a second. I've been the customer so many times, calling all of these companies, upset about what I just got, whatever it was, and looking for some sort of rectification. I need to be rectified. So I call up the company. I say, here's the situation. I'm not happy with it. I need something fixed. It's probably been bugging me for a little while, so I may come across a little bit shorter than I intend. That's on me. But the first thing that I've heard consistently across most of the companies that I've dealt with, oh, that's not on us. That's not our fault. We don't make mistakes. We're perfect. That's what it comes across as. They may not use that type of wording, but that is definitely what it comes across as. I can't make a mistake like that. Are you kidding me? No, that's not me. You didn't read the contract. You didn't understand the terms and conditions. You didn't read the fine print that's usually there to mess with you. Even if it wasn't my fault. And again, I'll take responsibility. Again, when everything's my fault, then I have control to fix it. But again, switching back to the customer role. Okay. If they would have come to me on the other end of that line, good or bad, and say, you know what? Usually I'm better than this. Usually this company, we're better than this. I want to apologize for the experience that you've had. I know I'm not the one that did it, but if I can apologize on behalf of the company for the experience that you had, I want to start there, and then we can look at fixing it. We can do the exact same thing as leaders. Good or bad, it's our responsibility. It's our fault. So if we go to our team, we go to our individuals, and we say, you know what, this situation, it wasn't handled the best, and that's on me, and I apologize. I am looking to fix it, and I would love to know what your opinion is on how to fix this information. You're the one that's doing it day in and day out. I would love to hear what you think. As soon as you say that, I guarantee you're going to get, some of you out there are going to get people that look at you and say, I'm sorry, what? You want my opinion? Is this a prank show? What's going on? Right? Some people may be thinking that way because I've seen so many leaders, and I'm not saying anybody listening to this is in this boat, but if you are, I'm hoping this lands with you. Because this episode, this podcast, is meant to fix our way of thinking when it comes to leadership. It's meant to change the way we do things for the better. Now, I do obviously have some research as we go through these episodes to understand this, but this episode, strictly experience. 100% experience. I've talked about it as a customer. I've talked about it as me being the leader and me being led. If I was not set up for success by, let's say, my leader, I used to go and say, oh, well, if I don't have the tools, how can I make it work? And believe me, I made some things work. I used to do some technical stuff. Technology doesn't work. You make it work, right? But I could have sat there and went, okay, the Wi-Fi keeps dropping out. The computers are slow. They keep cutting out. They're not doing the job they need. I mean, I could have complained just like anybody else, but complaining's not going to fix it. Taking responsibility so you can move on to that next step, that's huge. So I challenge you leaders, again, change the mindset, go up to your team. It's my fault. I'll take responsibility for it. I truly apologize, but it has to be sincere. If it's not going to be sincere, it's not worth doing. Okay? So I challenge you, and I would love to hear your comments. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment. I will reply to you as soon as I see it. If you are listening to this, excuse me, in any form of podcast, whether it's Anchor or Google, whatever the case may be, I'm going to put in the show notes a way for you to get a hold of me. I would love to hear your feedback on what you think of this and what the outcome was if you decided to act upon it. Oh man, if more leaders thought like this, the working environment would be a completely different landscape. If it was a matter of saying, it is my fault, I'm here to serve you, as your leader, I'm here to serve you, not the other way around. I'm here to make sure that you're set up for success in every single way possible. If more leaders thought like that, this would completely change the landscape of how leading is done today. And this podcast might even be irrelevant. So if you need somebody, if you know somebody who needs to hear this information, please feel free to share it. If you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, please subscribe. I would love to hear from you. I am actually focusing on helping leaders. Not because I am currently a leader. In fact, for the longest time, one might argue, I haven't had a leadership title. I have in the past. And maybe parent is considered a leader. I said it was in the previous podcast. However, people who have that manager title are not given the training. And I really, really, really want it to be fixed. I really want to change the way people think about leadership. The way people lead other people has to change. What's happening right now isn't working. It isn't working in so many ways. But together, we can help the world change. We can fix leadership. This is my why behind this podcast. I want to help fix leadership. It's a big task. But I think if I can even start with one, that's all I need to do. Start with one, it hits home. You share it with somebody else, it hits home. Share it with somebody else, it hits home. Eventually, people are going to be like, wow, maybe I am doing it wrong. I hope it helps. Anyway, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. I hope you got a lot out of this. Please, please, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'll figure out ways to for you to reach out to me through email or whatever other form. And again, YouTube, if it's a comment, I'll reply as soon as I see it. I really, really, really hope that we can connect and that I can actually bring value to you, because that's the whole purpose behind this, is I want to bring value to you. You may be in a leadership position right now going, I don't know what I'm doing. Please feel free to reach out. I will help you with whatever I can. I'll even come and talk to you if I can. We'll do a Zoom call, whatever. Please, please, please feel free to reach out. Okay, it was really, really good talking to everybody. I hope you have a really good week, and we'll talk to you on the next one. Later.